Hello there, my name is Sixo, but more on that later, as right now we're checking out the expansion kit for Planet X Ismenios, which of course is the chap on the right just here. That's the toy itself, and then the upgrade kit is on the left. Ismenios is a kind of third-party, sort of Masterpiece styled Deathsaurus from the Victory line, the original Japanese Generation 1 Victory line. I say sort of Masterpiece style as he's probably a little bit too small, if anything, but still a very nice toy, and I can't wait to see this upgrade kit today. Now, today's review comes courtesy of the wonderful TF Source, so I will of course put a link to their site in the video description, including a link for the expansion kit which we're looking at today, and indeed for the original Ismenios toy. So if you do fancy giving it a go, head on over there after we're done here today. And it's probably just worth making a little note before we begin about Ismenios himself, because I do think that this is a really nice, sturdy, well-made toy. I've never actually done a proper review of it fully anyway. I've done some photos and whatever else, but that's about it. And I do really like it. As I say, it's a little bit on the small side overall, and you'll see that particularly. I'll bring in Masterpiece Star Saber in just a moment. But if you are looking for a decent representation of the character and you like Victory, or you particularly like robot chickens, I don't know, then it's certainly worth giving a go. I will say that the look at the moment is a bit of a departure from his kind of classic look, his Generation 1 look anyway, and for my money it was actually this expansion kit that we're looking at today that really kind of tempted me on this release in the beginning, and kind of made me think, okay, if they're gonna, I had seen that they were going to do the upgrade kit, and I remember thinking, okay, if they're going to do that, maybe it's worth a go. Not that the current look is bad, mind, it's just, as I say, a bit of a stylized interpretation, whereas from my collection I typically would be looking for something a bit more kind of classic Generation 1, so that's why the upgrade kit appeals to me, particularly for the wings and the head. So can't wait to check it out today. Now, one thing the upgrade kit will not cure is the height of this guy. Ultimately, is when you bring in old Masterpiece Star Saber just here, you will see that he does come up a little bit on the short side. I mean, it's not so terrible, and actually, if you pose them and whatever else, you can kind of get away with it, if you squint a little bit or whatever, you can kind of convince yourself that it works anyway. Without any other option really on the market at the moment, other than the upcoming KFC version, which I'm hoping will be sort of the right size, maybe this one works for you. And to be fair, the original Generation 1 toys actually had that sort of height difference to them as well, so maybe it works for you in that regard, I don't know. And I'm sure you'll see what I mean if I bring in those very same original Generation 1 toys. Here they are. This is Victory Generation 1 Deathsaurus and Star Saber, of course, and I really love the Victory line. I don't know why, there's just something about it that really kind of dramatically appeals to me, and owning these two is a real joy. So and I really like the idea of having updated versions of them as well, which is why I'm probably so intrigued by this expansion kit today. But that's probably enough setting the scene, so let's go ahead and check out this upgrade kit today, shall we? So it all comes fairly simply in a non-sealed box actually, and then just in a bit of very simple bubble wrap. Right, first up we get this new beast head, which is very shiny indeed and hugely reminiscent of the original G1 toy. It looks really, really nice, really catches the light, so can't wait to try that out. Next up, you get a new robot mode head as well, and that looks similarly reminiscent of the, both the original toy and the cartoon, actually. It's a bit of variance from the toy, but it looks really, really good. You get this new little breastplate, I guess you could call it. It's, of course, Deathsaurus is part of the breast force, which might sound a little bit weird to Western fans if you're not familiar with it, but he comes with two, the original anyway, comes with two little robotic partners, one called Tiger Breast and this guy, which is Eagle Breast. You get a very nifty new gun with a little fold-out handle that I've just spotted, there you go, and looks really, really cool. Very reminiscent of the original toy and indeed his cartoon appearance, and in that regard this one does something special that the original toy couldn't do, which is that if you pull it off, there's a little chain mace on the end, which is a really, really nice little touch. And finally, you get this pair of wings, which are, of course, again, much more reminiscent of his G1 appearance. So they look really, really good. Bit of paint application and everything there. But generally speaking, just molded bare plastic, but they do look very nice. Oh, look, they even give you this handy little screwdriver, the thoughtful devils. And that's your lot, which actually for the price I think is really, really decent. It's not an expensive expansion kit at all. And I do think that they've packed in all of the necessities anyway. This is everything that you should need in order to upgrade your Ismenios to feel much more like the vintage original. Right, well, first thing we're going to take a look at is that new head. So here's the current head, still in situ, but we're going to just unscrew it at the back and put the new one on. This is pretty easy going, and I'm even using the screwdriver they included. Look at that. And then once it's off, you've got that ball joint, which of course will house the new head. So then you just got to go ahead and get that on like so. Very easy to do, and then we can put the new screw in the back. And then once you've got that all installed and screwed back in, it's got this little cover section at the back, which is quite good actually. Kind of fills in the spikes like so from the side, and then that's the new head in place. And then what can I say? I really like it. I think the new head looks great. I really like the little shiny kind of chrome crest that they've got on his head just there. That is, it's a bit of a weird one though, because actually that's a little bit at odds to the gold painted or gold cast plastic that they've got elsewhere on areas such as the chest and the arms. It does look a little bit different, so that's a weird one, but overall the head looks nice. I mean, it feels suitably mean. There's a bit of, I will say that face sculpt is definitely rocking the lips there. He's got a bit of the old siege lips, as I would call them, but you know, it's still not bad. It's not the best head sculpt I've ever seen. It's not the worst, you know what I mean? It's okay, it's absolutely fine. Again, I do think that the chrome just contrasts a little bit with some of the gold elsewhere on the toy itself, so it's a little bit of a strange decision, but by itself, I do like the chrome. So, and you know, overall, I think the head looks good. And then here's a straight up comparison with the old head, or maybe the stock head for Ismenios, I suppose I should say. And you know what? Between the two of them, I definitely do prefer the new one. It's just slightly less stylized, which, I mean, you know, some people may still prefer the old one, and that's fine. I mean, it's courses for horses really, isn't it? But for my taste, the new one is better. And then here's a similar comparison with the vintage toy. This is G1 Deathsaurus, and he does have eyes. He does have red eyes under that visor, but they are just quite hard to see. If anything, he's got two sets of eyes there, as he has these ones up top as well, and then he's got this lovely shiny silver face, but then the eyes are very hard to see on account of that clear plastic visor. But still, you can see what a generally great job the new head is doing at aping the look of that original toy, and yeah, as I say, I do think it looks good. And next we're going to check out that eagle breast accessory. Now on the original toy, this guy, you will see if you remove his chest plate, which is actually the tiger breast accessory, that transforms into like a little kind of horned or winged tiger thing, you're then left with this kind of red cassette piece, and that is eagle breast. Now that also transforms into a little eagle, but it's a kind of alternate look that you can give to the robot mode, where you've just got this kind of red cassette piece in place instead, and now you can do that on Ismenios. And it works on Ismenios here in functionally much the same way. So you just remove the tiger breast accessory, there you go, and off the top there, and then you can put the new accessory in its place. Now what you cannot do, which you can on the original toy, is actually have eagle breast stored underneath tiger breast, so he can wear them both breasts on the original toy, but cannot do that here. But at least it's a decent approximation of what that's meant to look like. Now, in all honesty, I don't know that this is something I would ever naturally choose to display him with. Do you know what I mean? I'd probably just keep the tiger breast accessory in place, because it's a little bit more kind of the iconic look to my eye, but this is still a kind of fun inclusion. It doesn't really cover the hole underneath. I mean, particularly from the top, there is a bit of a gap. But it looks okay, it looks okay. I don't know, it's got a nice curvature to it. There is a kind of, the peg holes at the side are a little bit visible though, and again, it's just a little bit gappy. I mean, you can really see that gap from the top just there. So it's not bad. It's not bad. Again, I don't think it's something I'll be using a whole great deal. Of course, what you can also then do is transform this thing. So if you just flip it over and then pull the wings out, try not to unpeg the feet. They just fold down like so. Some tiny little pegs. Let's get the toes out. There we go. And then the wings kind of push back in to the sides like so. And then you want to flip this bird head around. That seems to be really quite stiff. There we go. But that's him in bird mode. And there he is. And yeah, to be fair, he's a simple little thing, isn't he? But it does look quite nice. I mean, it's a decent approximation. Although again slightly stylized of the original eagle breast, but yeah, it ticks a box. Here you can see a comparison of the two from the back anyway, just so you can kind of get an idea of that really nice detailing on the back of this guy. And again, he's kind of got the more kind of chunky Generation 1-esque vibe going on, slightly more vivid colors as well, but I do think he's really, really cool. And then here's the new dude, and he's really quite tiny, a little bit more flimsy, I would say, but again, you know, it ticks the box. I think that's the point for me. This is not the most valuable inclusion in this expansion set in my mind anyway, but it's a nice one to have. Some people felt that Eagle Breast was a real kind of missing piece from the original Ismenios release, so at least it's here. This is how he compares to Planet X's Tiger Breast, which, as I say, came with Ismenios to start with, and old Eagle Breast does look a little bit small by comparison, but still, it's fine, isn't it? It's fine. And then lo and behold, here's the new set on the right with the old set on the left. That's Eagle Breast and Tiger Breast both represented. Now, as already kind of mentioned, one of the key elements of the original Deathsaurus was that you could fit, firstly, Eagle Breast into the chest, like so, and then kind of slots in. And then on top of it, you could fit in Tiger Breast. And I do think that it's a bit of a tight fit, but it does go in, there you go. And I do think that is a really nice bit of play value that this new version just kind of, I don't know, can't claim, I guess. I don't know, I guess that's for me because the chest here looks, well, there's obviously got this big kind of gaping hole in it without either of his partners in place, and which the original doesn't. It just has got a kind of flat grey chest, so that looks a bit better. And then even then, there's no way of attaching Eagle Breast, the new Eagle Breast in, and then getting Tiger Breast on top of it, but still, it is what it is. What you can do though, if you turn him around to the back and then separate out the wings and the kind of chicken arms and everything else, get rid of all of that kind of beast mode kibble, then you're left with this, which is his actual robot mode back, if anything, and then this is actually a panel that just, if you kind of pull it from the sides, there we go, just untabs like so, and then you can take your Eagle Breast and just, if you line it up properly, get everything out of the way. It's a bit it's a bit fiddly to do on camera, but that will tab in, he says. There we go, we got it. We'll tab in just like that, and actually kind of now form the robot mode back, which is a little bit strange. It's a bit of a weird solution, but it's some way of storing it at least, I guess. And then if you go ahead and reclip in all of these wings and everything else, then you can just see the Eagle Breast. It fits very tidily actually, just behind all of that, just there as the robot mode back. Anyway, next up we're going to do the wings, which is one of the bits that I've been most looking forward to. Now, in order to get to them, off, you've got to get this little, little section there, and it's already gone on the floor, never mind. But that comes off, and then you can just see it reveals the little screw just here. And then of course you want to take your trusty screwdriver and just get rid of that piece from there. Now, once you've got that unscrewed, you can just open up this piece there very carefully, and there's a little spring inside that will come out. That's absolutely fine. And then just take that whole old wing section off like that. And then what you want to do is line up the new wing on the little ratchet that's just in there. There's a little kind of ratchet joint with these two sort of tabs on either side. So you just want to go ahead and line that up. Hang on, make sure you get it right. There we go. And then pop the spring back in. Love doing stuff like this, I do. And then just close that back up again, like so. And then I'm going to make sure I got it all in correctly, and then just tighten the screw again. And then of course, once that's all tight and screwed in, you just want to put that little top piece back in place, and you're all done. And there we go, that's just with one wing installed so far. And you know what, the wings for me, as they were always the kind of most I suppose divisive element on the original toy, so they're definitely the element I'm most looking forward to upgrading, and I think that looks good so far. And there we go with both wings done, and my word, it's making quite the difference already. He immediately feels way more like the character to me. I think the wings look excellent. I mean, that new head definitely helps too, but it's certainly the wings that are doing the heavy lifting now for me in terms of making this feel much, much more like the character. Now here's a quick view from the back, and of course we've still got the old beast mode head to do, but you can see that the wings still move and the ratchets are maintained, so that's really, really good. And actually, you know what, they feel fine. They feel just like they would do, I think, if they'd been fitted from stock. So it's pretty good. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at this gun, shall we? Because of course the last kind of main upgrade is going to be the beast mode head. And of course we need to transform him in order to do that. Now, one thing that is kind of weird is that it's a bit hard to fit this gun into his hand on account of the mace just kind of rubbing against the arm panel just here. So that is a little bit of a strange one. I mean, obviously you can pop the mace out, but should you want to have the mace kind of in situ like that, it is possible to get it into his hand, but it is a bit of a tight fit, and it's definitely got some clearance issues there as well. So yeah, it's not ideal, but there you go. That's how it looks in hand anyway. And of course you can see him in comparison with the G1 original, which is slightly different. It's got the mace kind of hanging on the underneath just there. But I do like how they've done it here, and I believe anyway offhand that's quite accurate to the cartoon. It's been a while since I sat down and watched it, in all honesty, but it looks really, really good. Of course, to avoid any such clearance issues, as I say, what you can do is just pull the thing out like so. There we go, get the whole chain on the go, and you can probably, yeah, actually just kind of fold that over to hold in his other hand, and I think then, yeah, that's much easier in terms of stability in that hand. And there we go, that's the kind of completed robot mode look anyway. So, you know, does that hit the button for you in terms of feeling like a G1 Deathsaurus? Is that kind of much more in line with what you would hope for from this toy, as opposed to the original Ismenios look? It's up to you, realistically. For me, it's doing it. Do you know what I mean? He's still on the small side, and so if you are looking for him, you know, as part of your MP collection, that's worth considering. But actually, I think it's a really nice option as well. Of course, we've got another one on the way from KFC Toys. We've just seen renders of that so far, but that does look pretty good, and I would expect would be slightly larger. But still, I think with the upgrade kit in place, this is a really nice option. What can I say? And just before we move on to that beast mode, here is another look at him with the G1 original toy. And again, you know, it really does kind of feel much more in line with that now. Obviously, the wings can kind of fly out to the side, which they can't on the original toy. But yeah, I think he looks much more in line with how I would want the character to appear, certainly. And again, I'll kind of leave it up to your mind if that works for you or not in terms of a height comparison with Masterpiece Star Saber. For my money, yeah, he is a little bit short, but you know, again, it's not so bad that you could honestly think, you know, what in the world? You know what I mean? It's just like outrageous or anything. So, you know, squint and it works okay in my book. Particularly with the wings now, it's a decent option. There's still one bit to go, mine, which of course is that beast mode head. So let's take a look at that. All right, well here we are in his bird mode. Chicken of death mode, whatever you want to call it. I'm totally up to suggestions. Now, one thing to mention on my copy is that I do have a slight break, unfortunately, on this leg. The little peg hole where it kind of goes into, there's a little mechanism for that, and it has just snapped when I was transforming it once, which is a little bit unfortunate because it means that this leg now feels quite wobbly in his beast mode. Bit annoying, but it is what it is. So I'll get around to fixing it one day, I'm sure. But for now, he looks a little bit strange, of course, with the old head on this head, which is very, very stylized indeed, and doesn't really match the look of the wings. So let's go ahead and get that changed. Now, for this particular piece of surgery, you just want to get the screw out from the neck, which is just here. So again, over to the old trusty screwdriver, and give that the once over. Now that's going to leave you with these two pieces to the side, and there's a ball joint on the new head which just slots in like so, and then you just want to put them all back together again like that. And surgery complete, I think. And the first thing that I'll say, apart from the look at the head itself, which is very, very different to what we had before, is that the neck doesn't feel all that stable. Like, it feels like a little bit loose, and actually that's not just at this new joint here, so it's not on account of me having just you know, sort of having made that adjustment. Actually doesn't feel like it holds up particularly well. I don't think that the new head, maybe it is a little bit heavier than the old head actually, I don't know, but it does feel like it will hold just there, like you can see, but just with a bit of a nudge. Like if I nudge it too hard, it does feel like it's got a bit of give in it. There you go, just kind of sags down at the wrong angle anyway. So it might just be a question of getting a bit creative with it, but certainly I wish that felt a bit tighter than indeed it does. In terms of the look though, that's pretty good, I think. I think the new head honestly looks great. In fact, what I will say that's kind of an odd thing to say about an upgrade kit or expansion kit like this is that I think the new pieces look way better than what was on the figure already, and that's kind of where the jarring aesthetic is coming from me a little bit, in that the new stuff looks very, very retro, like very reminiscent of the original toy, and it kind of clashes, if anything, with the inherent design of the figure itself. I don't know, it's a weird mix of aesthetics somehow. Like, don't get me wrong, I do like it, it's just not quite as cohesive as maybe it could have been. I think it's the chrome actually, do you know? It's a bit like what I said about the head crest in robot mode. Just the new head is so shiny that it just looks quite out of place, if anything. I mean, I think that's on account of the fact that, you know, the nails and things on here, the talons, and all of that are not gold chrome, which if they were, it would kind of feel like it made more sense with the new head and the new beak, which of course is shiny chrome. So it's a real weird mix. You've got this kind of new style toy with very retro styled upgrades on it, and I'm not sure it works. I mean, again, credit to them, because that is, I mean, it's a nice looking thing. I actually really like the upgrade kit overall. I just think, does it solve everything I wanted with this toy? I'm questioning it, to be honest. It's a weird look. It's a weird look. Anyway, I'm kind of getting used to it, I guess. And what I will say, again, this head I think looks exceptional. It's slightly loose, which is annoying, but it does look really, really good. If the whole toy looked like that, I guess that is kind of what I want from a Masterpiece Star Deathsaurus, is that style of head with a body to match it. So maybe the upgrade kit doesn't quite get me there, but it's better than it was. And the beak does open and close. The jaw, of course, will close all the way, so that's quite nice. And yeah, generally speaking, I honestly think that looks superb all to itself. And just bringing in old G1 Deathsaurus again in his beast mode as well. And yeah, do you know what? I guess looking at them together, it kind of makes more sense for me in some ways. I do still think that the Ismenios, you know, has a very kind of modern take on the body, which the upgrade parts don't quite match. So I think the chrome, going so chrome and so retro in a way, was kind of a weird choice to make it kind of feel cohesive with what's there. But that said, I do think that he actually looks pretty nice. So it's definitely, for me, almost hit what I wanted it to with this toy. I just don't know if it quite makes it the, you know, the Masterpiece Deathsaurus of my dreams. So I'll probably still be checking out the KFC version when that comes out. I mean, I'm curious about it anyway, so you know, far be it for me to not get a new version of the same character that I already own. But you know, it's a curious one, definitely. Where do we stand on this upgrade kit overall then? Well, I think it's a weird one because you know, the toy as a whole, I do like the design of it. You know, I think for a lot of people this could be a fantastic toy. Obviously I've had a slight break, as I mentioned earlier, which is a bit unfortunate, but generally speaking, that aside, I do think that actually it's quite a well-made thing. I do just think that the way that the legs plug into the side of the beast mode is a bit unfortunate and not particularly well designed, but there is still a lot to like here, and generally speaking it feels very solid, and the upgrade kit feels well made as well. I just think that, you know, the original toy plus the upgrade kit, I don't know if it's exactly what I'm looking for my shelf in terms of a Masterpiece Deathsaurus, as I say. And I feel like there aren't too many options out there at the moment, but there is another one on the way eventually. How long will it take? Who's to say? But I think if you're on the fence, you may not be won over, is all I'm saying. If you do like the look of it though, and you like what you're seeing in the video here or in pictures, then, you know, go for it, because ultimately it is a fun toy, and the upgrade kit does work to a degree. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a mishmash of styles, but if you are looking for that kind of slightly retro but almost kind of, you know, newly stylized version of the character, then maybe this is what you're after. Ultimately, it's a good package. I appreciate the expansion kit for what it does, and I'm happy for now. Now, as I already mentioned, Ismenios is available from TF Source still, so I'll go ahead and put a link to their site in the video description, and you can check that out if indeed you fancy it. Otherwise, that's it from me, so don't forget to drop me a like if you enjoyed today's video, and have a great rest of your day. TTFN.